All right, we gotta talk about Nintendo Switch, bro. Gotta talk about Nintendo Switch. All right, so just a little bit of recap. So for a long time, there was a rumor that there was a Nintendo 4K coming out, right? Turned out that didn't happen. What we got was the OLED and stuff, which is literally the same console, just like with an OLED. I think the bezel's a little smaller or whatever, but it's the same basic thing. Come to find out this week, bro from Bloomberg says that a bunch of developers were actually working on 4K Switch games for a device that's not going to be coming out effectively, right? And then Nintendo came out to say this is bullshit. None of that's real, you know. So, Chris, what's your take on all that?
All right, so we'll go back in
Let's go
time
back.
to
Yeah,
build up to this moment. So back on Throwdown, when I mean you could go back to before the Switch, when the Wii U, the last year of the Wii U, Famitsu had interviewed Kimishima, and he had said, "Oh, we have plans. We have no plans to stop producing the Wii U." Famitsu asked him directly, "It's like, are you going to roll back or stop production?" And he said, "No, we have no plans to stop production. We're going to support Wii U well into the future, well into the life of the Switch." Right? That show after that interview, I mean, similarly to this, I had said, "Don't believe him. He's probably lying." And that year, I think it was 2016. I said that would be the last year of the Wii U. They're going to stop production as soon as possible. I predicted it was going to be probably the end of the calendar year, and it was January.
yeah,
They stopped, completely stopped. Not only stopped, couldn't find a Wii U anywhere. I think Nintendo forced stores to pull back their allotments and just got rid of it, like it was a disease. They just got rid of it. They made room for the Switch, right? Uh,
Chris,
go
you sound
back
a little low.
further.
Can you get closer to your mic or something? Because you're also kind
Oh,
of breaking up.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. So go back to 2011 or 2012, and the 3DS LL had come out in Japan. So I think GameSpot had asked Reggie or somebody, "Oh, is there plans to bring this larger 3DS to the North America?" And they said, "No, no, there's no current plans to bring the 3DS." Now, remember those words because that's going to be important. We have no plans to bring this system to the Western markets at this time. It wasn't even a week later that they announced the 3DS XL in North America,
yeah,
right? So, it's like a gambler with a tell. Anytime that they say we have no plans to do something, it's almost guaranteed that they have plans. They just can't say it, right? So what I think what's happened here is Bloomberg got a lead that some development studio had a 4K dev unit, and they started fishing around and found out more of them had 4K Nintendo dev units. It's like, why do you have a 4K unit? Oh, because they're going to have a 4K system soon, right? Oh, shit. And the only one that they got wrong, they said it was 11 studios, it was really 10 because
yeah,
Zynga said, "Oh, we don't have a 4K dev unit." I didn't expect them to have a unit, period, because they don't make
yeah.
console games. So, okay, that's fair enough. But the other 10 seem legit. When you have 10 sources like that, I would tend to believe them that they are not developing this for the fun of it. They're not wasting resources and soft dollars to produce a 4K game that a Nintendo system can't play. So and then Nintendo rushed, not even just this didn't come from Nintendo of America. This is Nintendo Corporation Limited coming down from Mount Fuji to tell everyone that Bloomberg is wrong and that they have and I'll read the tweet. I'm going to
Yeah.
read it to you.
Read
So
that
it says
tweet.
news report on September 30th, 2021 falsely claims that Nintendo is supplying tools to drive game development for a Nintendo Switch with 4K support. To ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to clarify that this report is not true. So here's the thing. They tried to get out ahead of this because their stock has been kind of tumbling on the Nikkei because
Tell me about it.
they've been they've been lacking
Stonks.
they've been lacking in that department. They're falling behind, as you guys have pointed out. Shout out to Tony and Carlos with the LG TVs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This stuff looks like garbage on a
Garbage.
4K TV.
Basura.
And as the TVs get better, it's only going to look worse. So they're losing that department. People are going to want quality in there, so they're going to go look towards PlayStation, and especially maybe that's why Phil Spencer's pushing for the Japanese market.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows he can enter in there and push and kind of push them aside because they're not fulfilling that. And even if like, oh, you could take the system on the go, it's okay, but people come home eventually, right? They're gonna want to play the system you put on your TV, and it looks like garbage. So the only way to play it decently is to hold it in your hand. And who's gonna want to do that at home?
Yeah.
All right. So the second part of the statement, I want you to pay attention to the wording. We also want to restate that, as we announced in July, we have no plans for any new model other than the Nintendo Switch OLED model, which will launch on October 8th. Okay? We have no plans. That's bullshit. I think what was supposed to happen was they were going to have 2 SKUs. And that didn't happen because of the chip shortage. So imagine that they were going to have a SKU that this OLED model was going to replace the current Switch, and then you have the Switch Pro. You would have a 4K Switch with a better processor and probably better internals and an OLED screen, and all the things that the OLED version has, plus 4K output, right? And then you'd have this other version. That would be the cheaper option because of course they boost the price on you. That didn't work out for various reasons. I would think the chip shortage had something to do with it. So they pushed it off. And they hyped the hell out of the OLED version like it was some great second coming of the Switch, which it isn't. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
And Chris,
yeah.
I think they showed their cards in that tweet. I'm like, how are you dismissing something and then hyping up something else? It's like they're obviously showing their insecurities. It's like, yeah, we know that people are hyped up for a Switch Pro, but we're trying to make money off of this thing right now.
That's what I was going to say too. I'm like, I think one of the reasons they're downplaying this is just because they want people to buy this shit because people are already going, yo, hold on, this is real? Fuck, I'm not buying no OLED. Yeah. I'll wait for this one. So I think that's why they're trying to downplay it, you know?
Yeah. So you have to read into their wording what they say. They have their gamblers tell. We have no plans. Okay, so you do have plans. And then the other thing is like, to ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers. Correct understanding is probably a side translation. What they want to do is just ensure investors and customers that they are supporting their current hardware, and that is the OLED version, right? That's the one that's making the money now. If these guys are right, which I think they are, and this system is probably going to launch probably close to holiday next year, whenever this is going to be ready and mass produced so they could sell in good volume, then they have to have hardware selling now. And like you and Carlos just said, that's the key. They got out ahead of this because their sales will tank if people think there's a Switch Pro. They'll just wait. And I'll just wait. Like exactly. I don't need to buy this shit now.
I asked people the question the other day. I was like, "Yo, now that this thing is possibly real, will you cancel your pre-order?" Some people say, "Yeah, I'm going to cancel it right now." You know, because why would you buy this OLED that's literally not even that much of an upgrade when you could just wait another year for this? You know, the 4K version, which will probably have
the Steam Deck.
Or you could do that. Well, you know, that goes without saying, right? But I'm pretty sure this is going to have an OLED as well, the 4K version. Yeah. So why the hell would you bother with this shit? You know, the thing that's currently available.
So if you're asking me, I read the Bloomberg article. I read this tweet, and I thought about it, and I was like trying to break down. I'm like, what are you really saying? So, what they're really saying is, please don't listen to Bloomberg and continue to support the OLED version.
Yeah, when you break it down, that's exactly what they said.
Yeah, and they know they got caught. Like Bloomberg caught them by just doing an end run. They followed up with all these studios. They're like, oh shit, they're all developing 4K versions. And understand this, guys. Nobody wastes soft dollars. Like
Mhm.
Carlos is the developer, Brian's the developer, I'm the developer. Nobody's gonna waste time or project money to go make a version of a game that's unsupported, right? For a
Mhm.
system that's not
Mhm.
happening. That's nobody's gonna do
Right.
that. 10 studios are not gonna do that. One studio isn't gonna do that. So this was a reality, and I guarantee it was supposed to happen this year. If there was no COVID lockdowns, whatever, no chip shortage, you would have had 2 Switches out this year. This one, which would have been like the Vita, would have just silently knocked the other Switch out of the way, and you'd have an OLED screen and a nicer kickstand, and then you would have the Switch Pro. And it would have been out this year, and there would have been titles for it.
I agree.
That did not happen with the current situation. Probably not going to happen for another year. So but they have to keep the investors thinking that, hey, this reality is what it is right now. But you can read the Bloomberg Bloomberg didn't correct themselves. They put a little update just for Zynga. They did not correct their article. They didn't say, "Oh shit, Nintendo said this is fault. We're gonna retract." No, they didn't retract. They stuck with it.
Yeah.
I guarantee this is
yeah.
happening.
Yeah, I know it's gonna happen. Like you said, Nintendo has their tell.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean,
No.
Yeah.
Nintendo's stock over the last 3 months has been down 18%. Over the last year, it's 16%. So they're not going anywhere. And the Switch Pro, if it does come out, and I'm pretty sure it is, it's not going to come out till next year, probably second half of next year. So what Nintendo is doing, they don't respond to rumors. They don't respond to these types of reports.
Oh yeah.
They're always silent if it doesn't hurt them, So they're what they're trying to do is they're trying to, and what Chris is mentioning with the investors, they're trying to get these investors excited with this Switch OLED and say, no, this is what we have. Be excited about this. Don't sell off. Don't sell off Nintendo stock. Don't make sure this doesn't go down because they gotta do their quarterly reports. They gotta do their year-end reports. Yeah. And if the margin for these Switch OLED consoles is not as high as they're expecting, it's going to keep selling off the stock. So,
and I get this was a poor move on their part. I would have expected this to come from like the Nintendo of America branch and Nintendo of Europe. Somebody to try to head off this news. I didn't expect this to come from Japan.
Yeah, Japan.
This was an incredibly poor move because all you did was lend credence to the Bloomberg report. Whenever you head off stuff like, oh no, guys, it's not true. Like the instant this was published, like hours later, you had a statement ready for this. And like Carlos said, they never respond to rumors. You would have been better off ignoring it. You'd have been better off ignoring it and let people speculate all day long whether Bloomberg was right or not. Instead, all you did was throw gasoline on it, and now people are, oh shit, maybe they're right. That's it. Okay, cancel that OLED version. And then all you got is investors going to start calling you up and go, oh, are they right? Are they right? All right. Or, should I change my portfolio around? Like, that's all you did. So I think they created more problems than they solved with this statement.
How long have we been hearing of these rumors for the Switch Pro?
It's been like 2 years now, almost, right?
Like, it's been 2 years. Before I even had my Switch, I was waiting for them.
And I'm saying 2 years minimum. It may be a little longer than that. It's been a while,
And they're responding now, when they're a couple of days, a week before the Switch OLED comes out.
Yeah.
It's dead giveaway.
Yeah, not for
dead
real.
giveaway.
Real. Oh,
Adam, you can't. Yeah. Adam, you canceling your
right.
Switch?
No, actually, I'm just getting both.
Yeah.
Got a double dip. Guadalupe.
He would. Here's what Adam would do if he does. Even if the other one does come out, he'll just have the backup one, and then he'll do something special to one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's an Adam move.
Yeah, so we are all calling BS on Nintendo. We know what's up. This thing is coming. This thing's real. But it makes sense. It's like, dude, look how bad Switch games look. They look bad from the jump when this thing first came out. Now they look even worse compared to like PS5 and Xbox games. So they need something,
Right.
Man, I just want to. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, Tony mentioned earlier, like, oh, Nintendo fans are going to get mad at us for saying that. They shouldn't get mad because if the Bloomberg report is correct, right, you're going to get a Switch Pro. So you should be happy about that. You shouldn't be happy at Nintendo's statement like, oh, that's not happening.
Yeah.
No, you should want it to happen, right? Like that's what everybody has wanted. So you should be happy at us calling this out. You should be like, oh yeah, I want a Switch Pro. Okay, well, then they lend credence to that.
Yeah, and let's not forget Nintendo. Out of the big three, Nintendo is definitely the most cutthroat out of all these companies. They, even during their DS phase, they implement features into a new DS, and you won't be able to play old games.
Yeah.
Or you won't even be able to play the new games on an older system correctly. So Nintendo is known for doing types of moves where they add different features and stuff into their existing inventory and move on.
Nintendo's a bunch of gangsters.
Yeah, man.
Miyamoto's a bunch of gangsters.
Oh man.